Throughout this whole speech, I've been providing you with reasons and examples on how global warming is affecting our planet Earth, such as the effects on the rising sea levels on our coastal cities, which could end up submerging in some period of time, the melting of the Arctic ice and how it's causing the water paths across the world to create different weather changes, and also the increasing amounts of greenhouse gases which we're producing and which is accelerating this system or this phenomenon at more rapid speed than scientists would ever think of. So back to my example of Fort Smith during December, when you go outside it's 20 degrees, 30 degrees, and you come back the next day and you're out in shorts and chacos because it's 70 degrees, and the next day you expect it to be 70 again, that's what we'll think, and you go back outside and it's 20, 30. These all can be tied back to the melting of the sea ice, the raising of sea levels, and the effects of the greenhouse gases as it changes what would stereotypically think would happen during a December in Fort Smith. So, winter, rainy, snow, cold, freezing, many describing words. So, we think about it that way, but it also could bring a different outlook on things. If we think about how our world's changed, how our climate and our world's changing, and how our environment is adapting to it. So from time from now, according to Stanley David Grossman, diseases such as malaria were spread into regions that were once too cold for these amphibial mosquitoes and its parasite to live. The infestation such as bark beetle have been decimated in forests where the winter is no longer cold enough to kill them. So we can see the correlation on how malaria, which is typically found in Africa and very hot weathers from that mosquito, are moving into regions where it's too cold since our planet is changing very rapidly on our weather, that it's making it into places that were once too cold. So you could probably expect to find malaria in Canada 20, 40 years from now, and that could be pretty alarming because we know what the dangers of malaria are. While the bark beetle is also an example of what are we doing, of how much it's changed that an insect that once lived in its environment can't live in it anymore, and how bad of a cold weather is. So diseases such as malaria are spreading into regions that the mosquitoes would never last. Is that what we want? Is that what we're going to keep producing by using fossil fuels and burning too much fossil fuels when we really don't need to? That's something that we need to think about as human beings, because we could rapidly end our future here, and we could end our planet Earth before even knowing, and we might even go into mini ice age for our actions of how much we're mistreating this planet Earth. Thank you.